looking for a drawing tablet. Oh look, the XP Pen Artist 12. That's perfect for me. This is one of the smaller, more inexpensive tablets XP Pen makes, but that hasn't stopped them from getting a little creative with it.
This is Brad. He likes to review the tech. He also likes to draw. And this here is his theme song.
The cringy intros will continue until every last one of you has hit subscribe. The Artist 12 Third cuts some corners here and there and is a pretty tiny little drawing tablet, but generally provides a drawing experience that I liked using. And I've been standing next to giant boxes for months, and it's nice to finally find a product that I completely dwarf. Did you use the Embiggen Ray again? Me? What? No! I don't know what that is. Cut to the box. Inside the box, we have the tablet itself. It's an all-plastic build. It feels pretty solid, and even though it's one of the more inexpensive tablets you could buy, it doesn't feel cheap, it doesn't feel like a toy, it feels like a real tool. Screen on the front, you got some buttons along the side, solid back with some little rubber areas so it doesn't slide around too much on your desk. Also in the box are most of the things that you're going to need to connect this. If you have a USB Type-C port on your computer like I do, that's the only cord you need. That's in here. If you don't have that, if you have an HDMI port and one of those older school USB ports, there is a 3-way cable included here as well. It's worth noting that if you do use this, you're going to also have to connect this to a power outlet as well. It doesn't come with a charger, so this little red plug is going to have to plug into an old phone charger or something that goes into the wall. Now, not any old USB Type-C cable will plug into this tablet. I had one sitting on my desk and I thought, I'll just plug this in without having to unwrap the cables that it came with. But because of the way the ports are indented along the side of the tablet itself, you need these specialized cables in order to connect it to your computer. Then we have the pen. Now this is a thin pen. It's not super heavy. It's not super well weighted, but it's not too light either. It's kind of right in between. You've got 2 buttons on this, and this is cool. It magnetically attaches to the top of the tablet. Something we see all the time on Android or iPads, but I've never seen on a drawing tablet before. That's a nice touch. Not a super strong magnet, but gets the job done. In the other box, we have a cleaning cloth, a warranty card, instruction book, and oh look, a drawing glove. We also have some extra nibs and a little doodad to pull them easily out of the pen. These extra nibs are nothing special, they're just their black tip nibs. XP Pen also has felt tip nibs. Those come when they're higher end products. You don't have anything like that here, but these nibs get the job done. This was kind of interesting. I've never seen a stand like this before. Kind of a cool idea. It folds in all nice, so it's compact. It'll fit in the bag. You can take it with you, but it also folds out easily. It's designed to fit a much larger tablet than this, so I would expect to see XP Pen shipping this probably with their 15, 16-inch tablets as well, but it works fine with this 12. I love seeing technology change and evolve. Like watching phones go from something that never leaves your wall to something that never leaves your side. Listening and speaking has always been the most natural way that people communicate. And with the rise of smartphones and earbuds, our way of communicating continues to evolve. That's where today's sponsor, Nothing, comes in. This is the Nothing Ear 3, that next step. We're really good at positioning our phones so we can hear the person on the other end of the line.
But we sometimes forget about the whole speaking part. That's where this case comes in.
This has a really good microphone on it. They're calling this the Super Mic. Just press the button and it swaps the audio input from the earbuds over to the microphone in the case for much clearer audio. If I'm in a noisy street or taking a call while picking up my lunch, with the press of a button, I can cut out all the background noise so that the person on the other end of the line can hear me clearly. A double tap of the talk button toggles it on so you don't have to hold it down for longer calls. And the earbuds here are great too. Deep bass, clear highs, everything perfectly balanced. Movies, music, podcasts, everything sounds so good. And they come equipped with an independent active noise canceling chip, supporting up to 45 decibels of deep noise reduction. I've also enjoyed the easy to use pinch controls. No more accidentally pausing your music or skipping a song when you just go to adjust the headphones in your ear. This Super Mic, pretty awesome. Calls come through crystal clear with no background noise. Using it feels just like talking face to face. Right now, you can get $20 off by using my link down below in the description. Don't miss out. Now let's take a look at the screen on the tablet itself. It's nothing special, but this is an inexpensive tablet, so I wouldn't expect it to be really pushing the specs here. This is an 11.9-inch screen with a resolution of 1920 by 1080, so it's full HD, but at this size, I don't really mind that too much. When you get that up to a 15-inch tablet, you start to see pixels, but at this size, it's acceptable. You also only have a 60 Hz refresh, which again, at this point, is fine. The color gambit isn't bad. 99% sRGB, 97% Adobe RGB, 97% display P3. Viewing angles are okay. They're not great. Overall, the colors are fine. It doesn't pop too much. It's not like the most amazing screen ever, but it's solid. It gets the job done. There's a matte coating on top of this thing, which helps it not get too much glare when it's sitting on a table, but also has the added benefit of giving you just a little bit of texture when you're drawing on the screen. That pen is gonna grip to that screen and not slide around too much. Not a ton of grip, but just enough to give you a little extra control. Now, along the side of the tablet, there's this little power button, and then there's a plus and minus button that look like volume buttons that you'd see on like an Android tablet or something like that. Here, does not control volume, but it actually controls the brightness. This thing only gets up to 260 nits. That's not too terribly bright. You're not gonna wanna use it in front of like a really bright window or something like that. Definitely not gonna work too well outside. But in my office here, it was fine. The one thing I will say about those buttons, kind of hard to press when this thing's plugged in because the power cord kind of goes in sideways. Very hard to hit those buttons, almost impossible to actually get in there unless you're using your fingernail or something. Buttons along the side of the screen, totally customizable. You can jump into XP Pen's settings that they have in their drivers app and really set these shortcuts however you want them. Now, the one innovation that they have here that I think is kind of neat is these like two little tiny scroll wheels. I guess we've seen Huion do this too, so it's not totally original, but still, I'm a fan. I set one of these scroll wheels to zoom in and out, and I set the other one to rotate my canvas, and then I proceeded to forget which one was which while I was drawing with it. But still, I like the fact that I could do that. A lot of tablets that have these kind of dials or these kind of scrollers make you constantly flip between your various settings, like brush size or zooming in and out or rotation. Here with two, it's kind of nice that I never really had to flip between those. I like having shortcuts on a device like this. These buttons are kind of small, but that's to be expected because the tablet's pretty small, so they managed to fit 8 of these buttons in here instead of just 4 or 6. So that's a plus. Now the stand is one of the more innovative things here, and we're probably going to see this stand roll out with a lot of XP Pen's lower end products over the next few years because it's kind of a cool idea. It's really portable. It's easy to take with you. It's not adjustable. You only get one angle, but the one angle that you're getting I thought was pretty good. It was perfect for me. When I was using this on my desk, I often found myself like moving my tablet over to use my keyboard for a little while and then moving it back in order to type on it. And what happens when you do that is the stand's legs really want to kind of fold in. I wish they kind of snapped into place a little bit, like just a little bit of resistance there. So whenever I hit the tablet, the stand didn't start to fold down a little bit. It wasn't super fragile, but it does move around a bit. This is the first tablet to use XP Pen's new pen tech. They're calling it their X4 Smart Chip. It's replacing the X3. Their Pro line of styluses uses the X3 Pro chips. And what this X4 does is it brings the specs more in line with their X3 Pro styluses, and that's a good thing. A better pen on a cheaper tablet. Yay! Now we have 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, a shorter response time, better initial activation rate, all that fun stuff. Now, I know when I start talking numbers and X3 and X4 and Pro, it can get confusing. So I am gonna make it real simple. Are you ready? I can't tell the difference. I just can't. All of XP Pen styluses feel the same to me. Once you get your pressure sensitivity up to a certain level, your initial activation rate up to a certain point, it's not really that perceivable when you're drawing with it. You just don't notice that stuff. It's great that they're adding it in here. It's great that they continue to make their pen better, but honestly, you're not really gonna notice. In order to notice, you'd have to use one on one pen display and then jump over to the other and specifically be looking for those differences. And I don't say that as like a negative or anything like that. Overall, I think that's great. The main thing you want in any drawing tablet is a really good drawing experience. And the fact that it's hard to tell the difference between one of XP Pen's cheapest tablets and one of their most expensive Pro tablets is really cool. And in that regard, you're getting a lot of value even if you go with a more inexpensive display. I found the pen to be pretty accurate. I did have to calibrate the screen because the pen was off by a little bit, but that wasn't a big deal. There's a software that lets you do that pretty easily, and then it was fine. When I draw slow angled lines, I can see a little bit of wave on here, but that didn't really show up in my drawings, which is the main thing that I'm looking for. Oftentimes with pens where you get a little bit of wiggle or a little bit of wave, when you start to draw curved lines, you'll see that start to appear if you're not moving fast enough. Here, that isn't really the case, or I could just turn up smoothing in Photoshop just a tiny bit, and it's just gonna knock it right out, which is what I'm looking for. As far as handling pressure, does that really well also. It doesn't really blow out anywhere on the pressure curve. It just seems to overall be a really, really solid pen. What we've come to expect from XP Pen over the last few years. Now, I tested this mainly on Windows and Mac OS, and on both of those operating systems, it was fine. It worked great. But this also works on Android and Chrome OS, and I should probably say a little something about that. This is not a touchscreen. You wouldn't expect a touchscreen on something this inexpensive. But Android and Chrome OS, those drawing apps do really rely on a touchscreen to pinch and zoom and move around and do that sort of thing. And so using a device like this on an Android tablet, on a Chromebook, I don't like that user experience all that much. You can do it, but it's not fun. And I think in this price range, you could probably find like a Galaxy Tab S6 Lite from a year or two ago that's probably around this price that can do it way, way better, and it's just a native Android tablet. I would go that route if you were thinking about Android or Chrome OS. This is really for people who want to draw on Windows or want to draw on Mac and want an entry-level tablet. Now, the one thing about 12-inch tablets is they get the job done, they work just fine, but one thing you are going to find is that the screen is kind of small, especially like in Windows. If you're trying to tap like the upper navigation, the drop downs there, if you're trying to pick a layer, if you're trying to hit some of those tiny little areas with the pen, some of those interface elements, a little bit small on a 12-inch screen. It's not the end of the world, it's something you get used to, but when you get up to those larger screens, especially like the 15, 16 inchers, that's not quite as much of a problem. The screen size might be one of the negatives, but one of the positives is just how easy this thing is to move around. It is pretty lightweight. It's connected to your laptop, so if you have your laptop sitting on like an end table, you can sit on the couch and draw with this thing. The shortcut keys let you do that, and they let you zoom in and out and do the undos without having to access your keyboard. That's really nice. Now, just recently, I reviewed the Wacom One 14, and I ended up comparing that to a lot of like what XP Pen and Huion have to offer. It's very comparable to this tablet here. Now, obviously, that is 14 inches. This is 12 inches. Those extra 2 inches of room do really help in terms of like hitting some of those interface elements. But one thing that Wacom does is they include their lower end pen to kind of keep the price down. And that's not something that XP Pen is doing here. And that's not something that Huion does either with their products. And that's why I think if you're really looking for an entry-level drawing tablet, kind of at this price point, I think going with XP Pen, something like this, or going with a Huion kind of in this price range, makes more sense than Wacom to me. Also, if you don't have a USB Type-C port and you need to connect this via HDMI, I would definitely go with this over the Wacom because Wacom requires you to buy an $80 adapter. That adds to the price as well. So it's not that I think that the Wacom product is bad. I thought it was pretty good. I just feel like in some ways, this thing is just better. And it's a little bit cheaper too. What do you think about the XP Pen Artist 12 Third? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.